Welcome to another episode of my series, Mystic Minds with K Mystic, where I represent something that I like to call the mystic veil, the bridge between the seen and unseen worlds. This episode will be about the famous body eating spirit. Who or what is the famous body eating spirit? So, when I was a kid, or not a kid, I was a teenager, about 12 or 13, 14 years old, there was a viral claim that alcohol is said to have come from the Arabic term al-kul and al-ghul, which means body eating spirit. Perhaps this is why alcoholic drinks are called spirits and booze. Drinking alcohol is one of the fastest things that you can do to lower your vibration, as it is being used as a tool to keep human consciousness at a lowered state for thousands of years. If we look at the correct etymology of the word alcohol from the 1859 Dictionary of English Etymology by Hensley Wedgwood, alcohol is the pure substance of anything separated from the more gross and pure, well-refined spirits of wine. So, if we see what happened here, it was more of the Chinese whisper effect. If you've never played it before, basically the instructor or a teacher will put a group of people sitting in a circle or standing up, and they'll tell them one thing. For example, something like Wingardium Leviosa. And then by the end of the circle, they'll say, "Hey, so the last one standing, what did you hear?" They might say Avada Kedavra. It was an incantation, or it was a spell, or it was some type of magical word, right? But guess what? A completely different thing was said by the end of the circle. It was basically a lesson that teachers use to show that things can be miscommunicated. The Arabic word for al ghul originally referred to a dark powder used as eyeliner to paint eyelids. Ghoul is a separate word for a flesh eating demon from Arabian folklore. So, in a sense, they were right. Ghoul does mean a flesh eating demon. But al-kul is originally referred to a dark powder used to paint eyelids. The viral claim said that alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-ghul, meaning body eating spirit. So the person that made the claim definitely had the right intention. They meant well. They weren't trying to make up information or, you know, do a mistranslation. They were on the right track, but on the wrong train. For the rest of the stuff that I talk about, it can't really be scientifically proven, but this is the mystic veil, the bridge between the seen and unseen worlds, where I give my interpretation of physical and metaphysical and spiritual topics, right? So this is includes in the field of type of stuff that I like to talk about. What is an attaching spirit? It is a parasitical entity slash ghost that latches onto a human host. These spirits feed on the person's life force and energy. Over time, they slowly drain and cause physical, emotional, mental, and energetic deterioration. This can lower your vibrational state where your aura is weakened or opened. Alcohol is one of the easiest ways that attaching spirits gain entrance to your auric field. This image illustrates the concept that alcohol can make a person more susceptible to negative and spiritual influence or obsession, where the spirits themselves attach to the individuals through their desires or thoughts. I really like this image because it shows a veil between a seen and unseen world. With the physical eye, right, all you're seeing is someone at a bar enjoying a drink. But if you were to see behind the veil, it might have a ghost, an entity that's draining someone's energy field by the lowering vibration of alcohol. How does this happen? So the human bio or auric field, its roles and functions is it holds information from your life, emotions, memories, and stress, and experiences that leave an imprint on the biofield or in the biofield. It allows your cells and organs and systems to communicate with each other, things like healing, breathing, and heartbeat. It acts as a protective layer between you and the outside world. It can absorb or filter environmental stress, negative emotional energy, and other influences. How can the biofield get damaged or weakened? Physical stress on the body, injuries, accidents, surgeries, or long-term pain can create disturbances in the field. Emotional or mental stress, experiences like trauma, grief, anger, anxiety, or constant negative thinking can create what feels like static in the system. So, this can't really be proved scientifically, but we all know extremely negative people, they don't even need to say anything. You just don't want to be around them. There might be someone at work, there might be someone you know. When they come around, the energy of the room just gets lowered. Like they're gloomy, their energy just feels just lowered, sluggish, like you can tell that they have a damaged or weakened aura. Obviously, we're not here to make any claims on any people out there. It can't scientifically be proven. I'm just talking about a feeling right now. Lifestyle choices can also weaken the biofield. Things like chronic stress, poor sleep, unhealthy diet, toxins, and especially alcohol abuse. Trust me, I would know. So, in simple terms, the idea behind this image is that alcohol lowers the energetic protection, making a person more vulnerable physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I really like this picture. Subtle, it basically means an unseen world, right? Something that's non-physical. That's why you hear stuff about subtle realms and subtle levels of your auric field, etc., etc. The attraction of the illusionary flow, Mayadavi energy, attraction of black energy. Shout out to Dr. Gibson. He was actually someone that popularized the term attaching spirits. He was a former psychiatrist. And one of the coolest things he said, in my opinion, was he was in an interview and someone had said, "So, what did your colleagues think of your work? You talk about attaching spirits, you talk about, a lot of spiritual metaphysical things." And he had said before he retired to be a spiritual master, his own medical practice in Arizona, he was booked out for 6 months because his patients were actually getting healed without medication. So his work is definitely to be respected in the spiritual field and the medical field. If he was booked out for six for 6 months in a place like Arizona, that place is in short of psychiatrists. He was definitely, you know, helping out his patients, doing his thing. So to try this, the attraction flow of black energy. So basically, I really like this image because it shows what's behind the veil when it comes to alcohol. This creates small openings, holes, by leaving you more vulnerable to outside negative energies. Alcohol leaves behind in the energetic field debris and distortions. I really like this image, right? Because this is honestly probably what it is to them, right? When your energy is at a low state, or you have a negative vibration or negative energies, it attracts these spirits that basically kind of see you as food. You become like a good, succulent, steamy meal, right? Oh, yeah, I forgot to say one more thing. So it says the attraction flow of illusionary Mayadavi energy or Mayayavi energy. So basically, Maya, I think it comes from the Hindu term of reality being an illusion. So Maya would be what causes reality to feel extremely real. So it's the part of reality that isn't real, but it makes it seem like it's real. And illusionary energy. So basically, when it comes to alcohol, it would make you probably think that this is something that's healing you, it's something that's making you feel better, it's something that's good for you when it's not. So that would be the illusionary aspect of it. Attaching spirits and how they may correlate with alcohol addiction. So this is an actual body eating spirit called a Pishkasha. A Piskasha is believed to be a restless spirit of someone who died violently, suddenly, or without proper funeral rites. Because their soul is unsettled, it becomes stuck between worlds. Folklore says that a Pikasha are drawn to places of intoxications. Once attached, the spirit is believed to drain vitality, cloud the mind, and amplify destructive cravings. The human ghost. Yes, attaching spirits can be human ghosts in the framework of metaphysics, right? I have to, be careful with my words. Ordinary people who died with strong attachments to the physical world, because they still crave physical pleasures, they linger around the living. Since spirits no longer have bodies, they cannot drink or smoke or indulge directly. According to this framework, they attach to people who already use substances so they can experience the sensations through people's bodies. There's a big theory that when people say that they black out or it wasn't them, hey, look, right? Um, Body cams. Now let's not, again, we can't make any wild claims to people, but there's a lot of people in body cam footage that say it wasn't me. It wasn't me that did it. Something was controlling my body, while they were drunk. That's another theory that people like to use. But let's move on to the next slide. Conclusion. Supernatural Season 3, Episode 11, Mystery Spot. Sam is trapped repeating the same Tuesdays over 100 times in a Groundhog Day style episode. I had to put this part in, right? One day when I was 19 years old, I was working at a warehouse at the time. I wanted to try a bottle of wine that I had had the other day at someone's house. I actually wasn't a big drinker like that. And when I got that bottle, it felt like the world became sunshine and rainbows. I was so grateful for my job. I was so happy with everything. And I really liked the taste, right? It started to become a weekly occurrence where every now and then, I'd go get a bottle of wine and then I'd drink it after work. It became this thing where it became 3 days a week. One day I'm at work and I see a video recommended on my phone. Signs you are a functioning alcoholic. And I said, wait, what? I originally thought that alcoholics were people that, wore wife beaters, caused destruction to their families and their wives and children, stuff like that, right? I thought that I wasn't because I came home from work and decided to get a bottle of wine or soju or whatever, right? And that was a big mistake because for years I was stuck in the mystery spot. The same day repeated over 100 times because I tried to quit, then I'd go back. I try to quit, then I'd go back. I try to quit, then I'd go back. But how did I get out of it? In an Edge of Tomorrow style. Major William Cage becomes trapped in a time loop after being covered in the blood of an alien, forced to relive the same battle hundreds of years, possibly thousands of times. He slowly builds the skills and knowledge he needs to defeat the alien hive mind. So, what I started to do was I used to, after trying to quit 100 times, I would have breaks, right? So, I'd say, for example, let's say the movie Superman was coming out 2025. I'd say, okay, well, I really like gold class cinemas. I like a mojito, Long Island iced tea, popcorn, and burgers and fries handed to me during the film. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to have a break and I'm going to save it for this day. And then I would go have like a month break and I'd live my life. And then I'd say, life's actually really good without it. And then I'd go to the film or whatever. And then I'd get stuck in the same cycle again. Something destructive happens, something negative happens. Then I'd quit again. And then I'd do another month break. Then I'd do another month break. And then I'd quit. And then one day I came to a realization I don't need this anymore. I actually had a lot of I enjoyed life better without it than needing it, right? So it was almost a Edge of Tomorrow's thing where the more times I repeated the self-destructive loop, the more things that I learned, and eventually I was able to quit and I was able to stop drinking it. Now, so they say a smart person learns from their own mistakes and a wise person learns from other people's mistakes. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. The reason why I'm talking about this is because I was definitely worse than both of the things I just said. Because I knew about all of this. I knew about all of this alcohol, ghoul, attaching spirits, body eating spirit, the negative effects of alcohol. I had to pay the price for it. In my opinion, I think if you know the spiritual consequences of things and you still choose to do it anyway, the universe has a funny way of getting you to basically realize why you shouldn't be doing it anymore. And yeah, I ended up quitting, thank God. So the reason why I actually liked it so much is because it was able to bring things in my subconscious mind to the forefront. Things like ideas, if I was feeling stuck on the next thing I should do, didn't know what to do, sip a little wine, your conscious mind, in my experience, went down, your subconscious mind emerges, and then I found out anything I needed to do for the future. So I'm not saying that anyone should try that. Other people have their own reasons, but I don't think that it's a great thing to be consuming on a daily basis or weekly basis, multiple times a week. It's fine for people that can have it at events, parties, or whatever. I don't think it's bad for that. But if you have it constantly, in my opinion, in the mystic veil framework of spirituality, metaphysics, and behind the veil, there is spiritual consequences. So that concludes another episode of Mystic Minds with K Mystic, the famous body eating spirit.